Yeah.
My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
Well, more importantly, game day. U.S. Canada round 2 tonight. Championship game 4. Nations face off from Boston, and so we are here to provide a very excited and quick preview. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about our friends at Popcorn. Best locally popped fresh popcorn and fudge on the planet. A limited edition still available. Kirill Kaprizov and Marc-Andre Fleury 1-gallon popcorn tins. Enjoy your favorite popcorn products in these tins, only $26, and then refills on standard flavors for only $8. You can also win Wild Sweet tickets to the March 13th game against the Rangers. Come into the store in Minnetonka and scan the QR code, or if you're outside the metro, go to popcorn.com/pages/mn-wild. Popcorn, POPPED, .com/pages/mn-wild. Kaprizov and Fleury tins are going quickly and only around while supplies last. They are very cool, as you saw. So again, check them out, popcorn.com, or give them a call, 952-452-8808. AJ, how are you feeling today about tonight's big tilt?
Mostly excited. There's a little bit of like nervousness for some reason. Like they're
right.
At the end of the day, this is a tournament that has elusive, extraordinary history dating back all the way to last Wednesday. But this
got strict rules too. Do not try to sneak in anyone into the lineup who does not belong, or the NHL will take this very seriously.
How dare the United States try to break the sanctity of the four nations face-off? Yeah, what? Why on earth? And I, if this was a Minnesota Wild player, maybe I would feel differently about it. But it's not, so I don't. If you're the NHL, you have one of, if not the best defensemen in the National Hockey League. Why do you not want them on this massive, massive stage? You want to highlight the game. You should be able to get him in, whether or not he was on the initial roster. Like, if he had a cold last week and now he's fine, why is he not that? I don't know. But,
so Quinn Hughes, though, but the Quinn Hughes thing makes zero sense because Charlie McAvoy ends up in the hospital, where last report he still is too. So
I thought he got cleared to leave.
The last report I saw yesterday, because it turned into, so he hurt his shoulder against Finland when Armia, and we talked about it at the time, was a dirty hit. He played the whole game against Canada, which couldn't have helped because that hit on McDavid alone was very jarring. And then we've got the back and forth. We'll talk about this with the Wild doctors who are representing the U.S. and what took place there. Long story short, McAvoy's done. So, but then Mike Sullivan, the U.S. coach, 2 days ago said Quinn Hughes is on the way, to which we joked about because Quinn Hughes technically then couldn't play unless somebody else went out. So then it turns out that Quinn Hughes had just flown back to Vancouver to practice with the Canucks and said, unless you can guarantee me I'm playing, I'm not coming back. And then Quinn Hughes' agent said he's not cleared to play yet. He can't play. Because he was on the original roster. Like you talk about screwed up. He was on the roster. He got replaced because of injury, and his agent said he can't play yet. He's not cleared. The Canucks haven't cleared him yet to play. And so now Tage Thompson and Brett Pesce, I think, have been flown in and are on standby to play but they can't play unless guys are hurt. But there's also a bunch of guys sick. Brady Tkachuk, I guess, well, he's hurt too, but he mispracticed on Wednesday because he is sick. So like that's the cluster bleep part of it. But the one thing I do think is I think we're going to skip the fisticuffs this time. I think we're going to get right to hockey.
Yeah.
The fisticuffs was to set the tone for the tournament on Saturday. And I like the U.S., but don't sleep on the fact that if Canada loses this game, the country will go into a state of mourning. Like, that's the thing here is, like, we're excited. They are, you talk about waking up nervous in Canada. If they lose, it's going to be seen as a blight on the entire nation, as opposed to us, who will probably wake up and, for the majority, go on with our business tomorrow like nothing happened.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the right point. Like, the U.S., it'll sting for like really big hockey fans for at least the next day, but the casual fan tuning to be like, you know what? But it's Canada. We really weren't probably supposed to, and even though we beat them within this same week, so you know what? That's all right. 500, and that's not bad. We at least got one off them.
Yep.
Canada, it's going to be like you put down their dog right in front of them.
Oh God, yeah.
I expect them to come out firing, and I would back up your point 10 times. Like there will be no orchestrated fights at the beginning of this game. Will there be potentially something like in the middle if things get very, very testy? Potentially, but I still even think no. Given the injuries that have happened, and I would imagine there's been something behind the scenes within the league, some official that's like, hey guys, I appreciate the viewing that you did. Like the numbers are great. You're back in action with the league in 2 days, in 48 hours.
Dude, that's been forgotten. I told you this would happen.
I don't know if you remember it, but Matthew Tkachuk was in the booth, and I know we sort of talked. I brought this up yesterday, but they were like, hey, whoever it was, like Edzo was like, I think I'm calling your game on Saturday, and he goes, oh, I forgot that game was happening.
He's like, damn.
He just totally forgot. They don't care about the league anymore.
I know. I told you. This is my whole thing. I sent you a note last night. And by the way, I had some concerns, okay, about guys being hurt. I did not see Charlie McAvoy ending up in the hospital. The Boston Bruins, I guess, very pissed off at the Wild doctors. I did not see, like, the amount of guys who have been sick and hurt. Like, I thought a guy might get hurt. I didn't think it would turn into a triage. So, but here's the funny thing. It's been great. So, like, I guess as long as the Wild escapes, and we're down to what now? Brock and Boldy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess as long as the Wild escapes, okay, it's fine. But like, if you're a Bruins fan, and you know what? I think the Tkachuks will both play. But if you think that they're going to get back to their respective teams healthy, and like Ottawa Age is trying to make the playoffs for the first time in how long? And Brady's their captain.
Yep.
And like he is their heartbeat, right? I mean, as far as we know, both the Tkachuks are going to return to their current teams with damaged goods like stamped on them.
The only reason I think the Bruins fans are probably taking this slightly better is because the game is happening in Boston. Like you can be mad and watching from afar, but if you have a ticket to the game, obviously you probably expect to see Charlie McAvoy, but now you're still like, I'm mad about it, but also this game is still going to be fun, blah, blah, blah. Like it's a poor situation for them. But I would say I'm more so, I'm still rooting more so for the U.S. to win tonight, but rooting very close second is that Matt Boldy and Brock Faber come away after 60 minutes unscathed, 100% healthy, and can return to the Wild. I have a question for you.
The
Minnesota Wild doctors are the medical staff is Team USA's.
Some of them, the trainers, the athletic trainer, and Dr. Joel Boyd, who's been with the Wild forever. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know that every single doctor is from the team. I don't think that's the case. So there's involvement, but I don't believe they took like the entire staff. I think there's other doctors. That's just a guess though, because I saw the list and I don't think it was complete enough to be all of the doctors.
Okay, because my question was like, did they get this opportunity solely because Bill Guerin is the GM of Team USA, or
probably? No.
Okay.
No, that's probably because of that.
Okay. And I mean, you know what? Then I just feel like given the team's medical history this year, they didn't win it based off of merit. They didn't earn that based off of performance this year.
And that's where, as much as I love to recklessly speculate about stuff, that's where I have no idea. And like, should like McAvoy have been held out of the Canadian game? Did he not say something? Like there's just a lot of things here. And then the infection is weird because like the infection wouldn't have come from the injury. It probably came from the treatment. So like that is, I did check in and was told the Bruins are just really mad. So, because like he's a key player. And so this might not be as much of a fault thing as we're really pissed off. And so, we're looking for someone to blame. And as I sent you, I will say this. there's nothing that can be done about the Olympics next year, but I got to think for the 2028 World Cup of Hockey, there is going to be a long discussion about the fact what you just said about Matthew Tkachuk to me is the most important thing, which is the NHL season right now to these guys who are, by the way, all upper echelon star type players is irrelevant. So like the World Cup of Hockey thing to me is, and the ratings have been great. So my guess is that the league is going to tell the GMs to sit down and shut up. But that being said, like what has made this so good, if you're a GM or you own a team, probably is driving you crazy because you're like, wait. We've got how many games left? My guys are going to come back on Friday, Saturday, and basically be just totally gassed. Because to say the funniest thing was Jesse told me that she was talking to a player or a former player who said, I mean, these guys, yeah, it's what? It's 3 games, 4 with the championship game. These guys are used to playing that amount. I mean, what's the big deal? It's like, it's 3 or 4 games on steroids.
You're throwing a juiced up playoff series in the middle of the season.
Which, by the way, I do love. Like, let me continue to say, once it started, you know what? Guys are going to get hurt left and right. But if you own a team or you're a GM, but yeah, it's a juiced in playoff. It's like saying, well, yeah, games 5, 6, and 7, the Stanley Cup Finals. Guys play 3 games all the time. They don't play those 3 games.
The timing has to be different. And this is why I think you said that Connor McDavid made a point of like, we can't do this every year.
Mr. I want best on best said, yeah, we're good if we just space. I mean, he looks exhausted.
He got a taste of the 3 games that they do all the time. And he's like, yeah, we can't do this.
Enough. Let's get back.
Even more of a point of why the NHL cannot force this, because once the players' hearts are, that's what has made this tournament so good. Is the players participating, their hearts are into it. They're fully invested. You have Matthew Tkachuk saying, I totally forgot that I play for a team called the Florida Panthers, who are the reigning Stanley Cup champions. He doesn't care about that. Right now, they care about wearing the USA sweater, the Canada sweater, the Sweden, Finland, whoever you represent.
Yep.
If they get sick, they're never going to get sick of that. That's maybe not the right term. But if they lose the current passion level that they're at, this tournament takes a major step back. And sure, guys are going to still try hard, but this is fierce, tooth and nail, foaming at the mouth, rabid hockey. And that's what the fans are loving. That's what's made this
because it had been
so special. Exactly.
But
if you just do, let's do another regroup in like 6 months, blah, blah, blah. That's going to kill any sort of excitement.
And like we can say, well, I mean, look at what, and it's true, look at what hockey has done compared to the NBA All-Star Game, which sucks. And it's like, yeah, but the NBA All-Star Game allows these guys sort of a break. Like that's the thing. This is like hyperdrive. So here's the one reason why I am like, I think this is going to be an incredible game. I hope, knock on wood. And I do think the Canadians have an excellent chance. But to me, the X factor is very simple. It's goaltending. Mm-hmm. Is Binnington going to stand on his head and do the 2019 Blues thing? Because he has not, I would not say he has played poorly in this tournament, but we've talked about this. He's given up some goals that certainly can be stopped. Now he's made some phenomenal saves. But to me, the X factor is goaltending, because if you give me Hellebuck and Binnington, I'm going to take Connor every single time.
I'll tell you right now, I think the game is decided by goaltending, but it's whoever gets to 4. Who gets to 4 first? That is going to be the team that wins this game, because I think one goalie is going to rise to the occasion enough. Like, you're still going to have, if you're Connor Hellebuck, you still have a high-powered, lethal offense. That power play unit's insane. You have the best players in the world across from you trying to put a puck past you. He'll make stops, and you saw him do it against them on Saturday night. Mm-hmm. Jordan Binnington, he is a sleep paralysis demon, in the sense where you know that he's not harmful, but at the same time, you're super scared that he's going to rise to the occasion and play like he did on their cup run with St. Louis. He can stand on his head. He can look like a Dominik Hasek at times. Like, he's not that player by any means, but he can show flashes of being this elite starting goaltender. I think Connor Hellebuck, the consistency he brings, especially still in the regular season, he is the reigning Vezina Trophy winner. He's probably going to win his second one this season. The goaltending, I think, is in favor of the U.S., but the problem is that I think the X factor of unpredictability with Jordan Binnington. I would say, though, it comes down to secondary, and this is why I 2 days ago picked with you and Jesse a 4-2 Canada win. Special teams, who can stay out of the box. You cannot be reckless. You cannot be undisciplined. This USA team, I fear, is going to, in absence of certain players being hurt and not being able to set the tempo maybe the way that they want to, they might try to play overly physical game that's going to put them behind the 8 ball early. And all of a sudden, you're trying to just kill penalty after penalty. You have to stay out of the box. A team that stays out of the box, secondary to a goalie performing, is going to win this game tonight.
Yeah, which means the Canucks are going to have to be very careful here too, because and look, I mean they have gone 1,000 miles per hour every single game, including Brady against in that last game, which made no sense because he got himself hurt, and at the end of the day, that loss to Sweden was inconsequential because a spot in the championship game had been locked up. To your point, that's another interesting thing. So this is the league's tournament. They run it. It's their officials. How is this game called? And what's the mandate here? Like Saturday, what? Estimation, viewership in the United States alone, 4.4 million people. I believe North America, if you include Canada, it was more than 10 million people watching. In Canada, it's not surprising, but here 4.4 is an enormous hockey rating. So my question is, how's this game called, and does the league tell the officiating crew and in the two refs especially to crack down a little bit more, and that they don't want it to get as over the top as Saturday did. Now, I hope that's not the case, but I'm just saying, to your point, because that Canadian power play is so lethal, I guess what intrigues me is there going to be a conversation about how this game is called, and will it differ from Saturday? Because if that's the case, then your point becomes even stronger.
Personal opinion, if you're looking at a scale of we're calling everything to Stanley Cup Final Game 7, we're putting the rule book away. It's one page and it just says all we have to do is drop the puck. I want it closer to the Game 7 side.
Agreed.
But whatever the case is, whatever the reffing crew decides is going to be the standard for the night, you must pull both coaches together and say, here's how we're calling it. Here's what you need to tell your team. Whatever it is, they have to be aware early, because if Canada's okay, we're going to scale it up, we're going to represent the country, blah, 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 and the U.S. is Bash Brothers are back, baby, let's go, and they're going to call everything, you need to let them know ahead of time so they don't, in the first 10 minutes, try to rough it up, and all of a sudden this game gets out of control, and then you're in the box, that's another 2 minutes for you, blah, blah, blah. Set the tempo right away, let us know, because there can be no room for error in a game like this. You have had such a perfect equation and solution for what this tournament was. For some reason, there were naysayers and doubters about the effort level and how entertaining this would be. This cannot be the fire cannot be sullied out now. You cannot just dump water on this and be like, yeah, hey, that was a good tournament still regardless. This needs to be put in a position where this is a close competitive game. You can't have a 4-0, 5-0 shutout for whoever, and it's just okay, we're going to go off and back to NHL play now.
Yeah, and I do think that there is something to be said because of the stakes for the discipline that will just be self-imposed. I hope. Kachucks, I hope. And that doesn't mean I don't want you playing hard. It does mean that you have to play smart. And the thing is, you cannot put, if there is any indication that they're going to call stuff, you cannot put the Canadians on power plays consistently, because you will lose. Last thing, give me a prediction for who you think is going to be, if the U.S. is to win tonight, who do you think is going to be the hero, the number one star? And is it going to be a player who hasn't necessarily stood out yet? Because there's some star power of guys who have probably played well, but certainly have not been the headlining guy thus far through the United States first 3 games.
I'll give you 2 because I'll give you one that I think has been very prominent and forward in how good he's been this tournament. That's Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel has dominated that middle area of the ice. The play just runs through him. He is a fantastic.
Getting choked
Excuse
up.
me. I'm getting choked up over how good of a playmaker he is.
Yeah, don't blame you.
But Jack Eichel is a fantastic player. He pushes the play. He does what I think you and I and Jesse have talked about on this show with a guy like Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Boldy, where he drives lines, he orchestrates, he designs plays on the fly, and is able to just propel his team in a successful direction. That's Jack Eichel. He is a fantastic player. And the thing is, he's a playmaker first. So you kind of overlook at times, but he has had, I think, over the 3 games, multiple assists, multiple times. He's been a fantastic player. So that's the one guy who I think has already been really good. The other one that I think maybe big name, I don't think has really lived up to the expectations, especially wearing the C for USA, is Austin Matthews.
Yeah.
I don't think he's had that great of a tournament. This is a guy who we're a year or 2 removed from him putting up 60 plus goals. Where is the scoring prowess? He walks in, and I understand that he has the complete package of handles. He's got the passing. He's got the amazing shot. But I feel like he has had everything but that finishing move. He hasn't really wowed me with that last second adjustment to beat a Bennington or I guess Gustafsson and or Ersson, excuse me. I forgot who had replaced him. But
they've had 3 goaltenders.
And granted, they
played all 3 of them.
Yeah, with the tournament they had, why not? Austin Matthews, I think, could be a guy who kind of throws off the curtains, comes out and says, all right, I'm here. I'm ready for the final. I'm going to win this single-handedly.
I'm going to give you one that might surprise you, but I think when push comes to shove, I think there's going to be something to be said for the grinders here, for the guys that do the dirty work and also have a bit of a big game gene. JT Miller. Been an incredibly difficult year. The Vancouver stuff, the still mysterious leave of absence, gets traded to the Rangers. Now he's projected to be tonight on the 3rd line on the left wing. Dylan Larkin at center, Matt Boldy on the right wing. And Dylan certainly had a great game against the Canadiens. Scored the GWG. But JT, this strikes me as a game where you're going to get the Eruzione-esque type of guy who's going to surprise you. So I'm going to go with him, and I'm with you. Like, here's the difficult thing. Austin Matthews, you can't necessarily tell what he's doing right or wrong, and when the points aren't reflected, it's surprising. And you know what? Jack Hughes too.
Yeah. Very good point.
But I think tonight's going to be a game where the muckers, the guys that do the dirty work, also play key roles. So JT is my guy among the forwards. The other guy I really like, and I think might be a sneaky big contributor tonight, Zach Werenski. Dude's having a Norris Trophy season. He's in Columbus, which, by the way, has been shockingly good. But he's having a great year, and he's played really well. I just don't think that he has been top of mind. So I'm going to go among the forwards, Miller; among the defensemen, Werenski as my potential guys.
The other thing I was thinking about is we're either going to see a all-time performance or an all-time blunder performance by Jake Sanderson amidst his name up in the Quinn Hughes conversations, because to be linked, and I understand now it's like he's not cleared, so there was no way.
Right, it was never going to happen.
But being part of that, for him to either like score the first goal or he's going to have a terrible turnover, and so there's that narrative that to like Jake Sanderson magnifying glass for me tonight. Like, I'm going to be watching every single strike.
That's not fair. You're going to crap on him
well, I think
potentially
like
crap on him.
I think most of the hockey world is going to crap on him if he makes mistakes. So,
the last thing, the Canadian player that scares me most outside of Binnington just becoming incredibly hot, which is possible, is Sidney Crosby. Is Sidney Crosby. Now what, 27-1 in international games, with the one being Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't get out of my head how that guy played in the Canadiens' first game. Like, that was an incredible performance. He is good. If you were to weigh the competitive zeal of every Canadian player, and I mean, you've got McDavid, you've got a room, McKinnon, you've got a room of gamers. I don't think anyone would beat out Crosby, though.
No.
And I think it's been eating at Sid for 4 days, 5 days now. I think it's been eating at Sid about what happened on his home turf in Montreal on Saturday. He scares me tonight. He to me, if there were to be a Mark Messier trophy, you know, assuring victory, which Sid would not do.
No.
But Mess did in the series against the Devils in 94. If there were to be like that, oh my God, that dude just scored a hat trick performance, Sidney Crosby tonight scares me.
Yeah, I would love to be a fly on the wall for whatever pregame speech or pregame words he's going to say. Like, they're going to come out ready to run through a brick wall. And I'm sure, I mean, this is a guy that has done everything in his career. He frankly doesn't need to win anything else, but a dangerous Sidney Crosby is one who's motivated. He's motivated the past 2 seasons to just will the Penguins to the playoffs. And I think almost did it last year.
He did. They almost made it.
That's right. And now, I mean, the one time he's probably going to get a chance to play in a Four Nations faceoff, he probably wants the gold medal, or what is it, a cup? Is it a gold medal? I'm not sure what the prize is.
It's probably a cup of some sort.
Whatever it is, he wants that on his mantle as well.
Yep.
And the past few days, I'm sure nobody has said a bad word about Sidney Crosby, a worse word about Sidney Crosby and like them losing than Sidney Crosby to himself in his own head.
Yep.
You're right. I think this has probably ate him up inside. This is going to be a very interesting watch because he looks like he is in the middle of his career. He looks like still he's entering the prime. He's playing better as a 37-year-old than most 27-year-olds. It's going to be scary tonight to see just how good he is, because he's going to be motivated to win, and not just win, but win indignantly. Like, stick it back to the U.S. You will not win in Montreal ever again. We were taking it on your home ice.
Well, and he has, like, that team too. John Cooper of Tampa is the ideal coach, right? Because he's like, I wouldn't say he's laid back, but he's definitely like, he's really, really smart. And so that team does not need a pregame speech from Coop. It's going to get one from Crosby.
He knows how to work the puppet strings. Like, he knows when to push 100%. Players and let people do their own thing. He's going to let Crosby, hey, Sid, say a couple words. I'll be out on the bench.
Exactly. And Crosby, as good as he looks too, can appeal to the reality is the Olympic Games next year are probably it. I don't see him being in the 28 World Cup. And so like he can appeal to, hey guys, I finally lost my first game. So Sidney Crosby scares me. Like that one frightens me. And I don't, as competitive and as many guys, potential captains as the US has, I don't think they have a Crosby. Like, I don't think they've got that guy. And so
no, I picture like the Kachucks like bashing their heads together and it's like,
yeah,
let's kill him, yeah. And then Crosby's going to have this whole orchestrated speech, and there's somewhere there's going to be music like swelling up in the background.
It's the Messier thing, though. It's literally like taking the team by the collar and saying, we're not losing this game. Yeah, like the Kachucks get so high that they ebb and flow. Like you can't keep that up. Crosby has this. He's almost like a serial hockey killer.
He's canceling plane tickets for everybody if they lose.
Exactly.
You're getting your own ride home. We're not flying back together. The only way we fly back as a team is if we win.
He's an assassin. He has a smile. He works quietly, and yet nobody does their job better than the hockey assassin. That is Sid, the Kid Crosby. All right, we are going to be back tomorrow to review this game, which we, of course, hope is a U.S. win and is fantastic. And then guess what? On Saturday, the NHL season's back. That's right, Matthew Tkachuk. The NHL season is back. He's AJ. I'm Judd. Thanks for watching.